We're an island nation, drawn to the sea that surrounds us. For many, it's a playground. For others, it's where we earn our living. But the sea's unpredictable. It can change in an instant. And when accidents happen, they happen very fast.
The sea is a dangerous place. If you don't respect the sea will bite you.
There to save our lives is a volunteer army of nearly 5,000 ordinary people, ready to leave their jobs, their families, to race to our rescue.
It makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, to know that if it wasn't for you, that person wouldn't be here.
They rescued me, but they also saved a mum, a daughter, a sister, a wife.
Oh my God.
To see someone disappear under the water right in front of you is brutal. It's absolutely horrendous.
Equipped with their own cameras,
My light flashing. Yeah, it's mine.
the crews give us a unique insight into every call-out as only they see it.
Right, there's another little wave.
Speeding through the roughest weather, searching for people who may only have moments to live.
Can you still hear me?
For those who risk their lives, it has become a way of life.
When those pagers go off, it's life and death.
The lifeboat station at Aberystwyth was established in 1861. It completed a chain of stations guarding the wild coastline of West Wales. Today, the crew's regular shouts are to help holidaymakers in trouble out on the water or cut off by the tide against the cliffs of Constitution Hill, which dominates the town with its imposing bulk. But so far, it's been a quiet start to the season.
I think it was our first shout of the year.
It's a routine summer call-out. An inflatable dinghy has been seen drifting out to sea.
Roger that, out.
The first two volunteers ready to go are Sam and Nick. They've been crewmates for the last 6 years. Helmsman Nick is in command.
As a helm, it's my duty to protect my crew and the boat, because without my crew, then I'm useless, and without the boat, we're not safe. So protecting ourselves and our equipment is always priority.
Nick, he's a great help. On top of his agenda is your safety. Very much kind of looks at the risks, very logical. He's very calm, and you know you can 100% trust him.
The crew are on the scene in under 5 minutes.
Hey guys, we've had reports that you might be possibly getting taken out to sea.
This time, their help isn't needed.
Brilliant.
We were calling out the local Coast Guard to check that we could stand down, as is normal procedure.
We were just going back into the harbour when a radio call comes in.
Aberystwyth IRB, we've just taken a 999 call for a Paraglider who has collided with the cliffs at the southern side.
85, wow!
We spun around and I shouted to Guy's station to get the bigger lifeboat ready to go as well, because we knew we'd need them as backup.
Roger that, en route to Constitution Hill, over.
It's a call out to an area these two know all too well.
Constitution Hill is a prominent landmark in Aberystwyth. A massive amount of our shouts circle around it, be it from cut-off some tides to people climbing up the cliffs to people potentially coming off it.
But this isn't one of their regular call-outs. The hill is used as a launch area by paragliders. One has crashed into the cliffs.
If you come off it, your chance of survival are in the single percentage figures, basically. There's no beach. you'd be very much clinging to the rocks.
It's the first time either of the two volunteers has been called to rescue a paraglider.
I've never had anything similar to that, and you don't have any kind of experience to fall back on. Quite a few things are going through my head. The guy could have been trapped somewhere in between the bottom and the top. To the worst case scenario is if we turn up there and he's face down the water, is he tangled up? All we knew, we're looking for a chute almost, and that's it. So the reality is get there as quick as possible because you don't know what situation they're in.
Told Sam to hold on tight because the sea wasn't flat and we were going to go flat out. Every minute, every second in this shout could potentially be life-saving.
Seven minutes after the call came in, they spot a figure on the cliff face, half in, half out of the water.
We've located casualty. Rocks ahead, rocks ahead.
As we went in, we could see the chute in the water, we could see the casualty kind of clinging.
Stay where you are! Stay there!
As they approach, their concern for the paraglider increases.
Sam had very clearly seen that this person didn't have any form of flotation and he was still attached.
All it took was him to lose a grip or a particularly strong wave and he could have got tangled up and quite easily could have drowned.
The parachute is also a danger to the crew.
It's really weighty.
Especially Sam, who's now in the water.
I was concentrating on dealing with the parachute because that, at the time, was my biggest concern.
Nick skillfully manoeuvred the boat to kind of push down on the parachute because it was full of air.
Nick, there's lines under water and I'd be happier cutting this.
At a certain point, it got so much that I had to get the boat's knife out and start to pierce through the parachute to empty it of the water.
Really careful as you go on your prop.
Sam's next move was to then help the casualty out.
Stay there. Are you released from this now? Okay, wait, is your leg still attached? Okay. Right, it's loose now.
The priority now is to get the pilot to safety.
Okay, are you hurt anywhere?
No, not hurt at all.
Okay, good.
But he seems more worried about the state of his parachute.
Come along.
Well, sorry, sir, you're on the priority. We'll do our best to get it in.
Please don't touch it,
Sir, you're hanging off a cliff into your parachute is the least of your problems.
Very understandably, he's in shock at this point. He doesn't necessarily have full awareness of the surroundings, that he's still quite in danger. And so he does get concerned about his kits.
How are you being? You all right? Okay. Obviously.
But I think Sam reassures him that this is the best thing which can happen right now to get him out of the water and the situation quicker.
Sorry, concentrate, holding on for us, please. Yeah. Okay. Need a jacket!
We got on scene quickly, we removed the danger, which was the parachute and the lines, and we stabilised the casualty. And then we got to the point of how are we going to get the casualty out.
We're just going to secure this bit more. Just keep on the rope for us.
At some point in all of this, the Atlantic 85 had arrived.
On our approach, it was obvious what we needed to do. It was clear that Nick and Sam didn't have enough hands getting him off the cliff.
So I very quickly radioed them and said, yes, send another person.
He's not hit any rocks. He's not complaining about any injuries anywhere.
At that point, Stu kind of turns up, and his background as a trauma doctor is kind of very good to have. I mean, just having an extra pair of hands was great to extract the casualty.
Life jacket is not secure yet, not secure.
Even with backup, it will still be a challenge to get the casualty into the boat while being thrown around by the swell.
I then pushed the boat onto the cliff face.
You basically rove it up against the cliffs and you create a stable platform.
It's a technique which we practiced.
I then jumped in the little boat, and then between us we just dragged the casualty into the boat.
1, 2, 3, kick back!
They then headed off to put the casualty on the Atlantic.
I'm sorry, I had to cut your parachute to empty the water, okay?
The crew literally have your back sometimes when you're hanging over the side of a lifeboat, grabbing someone, they're holding your back of your life jacket to make sure you stay in the boat. So they really do literally have your back.
No injuries, no head injuries, but it's only been vocal and quick rough and tumble. I can take care of that, please.
Once everything was on board, actually, this guy was okay. Apart from being in the drink, he was okay.
The biggest luck was we're already out in the water, we're already dealing with another shout. About 10 minutes was saved of time of us responding from home.
There is a buzz, there's definitely a high. You're pretty up there on top of the world, knowing that you've done the best you could do, and because of that, somebody's walked away and they can go home now and see their family.
Over 95% of people keeping the institution afloat are volunteers, from boat crew to shore crew, lifeguards and fundraisers. To keep going, they're always on the lookout for new recruits. Minehead Lifeboat Station on the north coast of Somerset is no exception. 42-year-old Raji answered the crew's call for new blood.
They had a recruitment drive. I didn't really know anything about the lifeboat, and there was a shortage of crew in Minehead at that time. People were due to retire, so I just popped along to an open day, and that was it.
The crew is always sort of evolving and changing. People join, people retire. We're taking on new recruits and training them up. Raji was one of the first people to come in and sign up when we were looking for new crew. We took her out for a familiarisation trip in the boat through some fairly rough surf. And I came back and I said, "Were you okay with that?" And she said, "Well, what's not to like?" Which was a pretty good indicator that she was up for it.
We've got some pretty fit and strong fellas, and strength-wise, I might not be able to match them, but we work as a team, you know. We're all there to help each other, and we do.
Like 9 out of 10 lifeboat volunteers, Raji has no professional maritime experience. But with training, she's now on call to head out into the Bristol Channel and some of the fastest flowing tides around our coast.
The sea's a pretty scary place. You never know what you're being called out to. So there's never a time where I think, I've got this, I know what I'm doing. All I can do is what I've been trained to do.
The pager's call has brought the Minehead crew running to the station. Raji is one of the first to arrive and kit up. The Coast Guard report a group of kayakers in need of urgent help.
It was my first real big shout. I was feeling a little bit nervous, not sure what to expect, not sure what my role would be when we arrived. Inexperienced is what I felt.
25-knot winds and 3-metre waves have blown the kayakers onto a beach. Encircled by some of the highest sea cliffs in England, there's no way off the beach over land, and it's disappearing fast under a rising tide. The kayakers are stranded on a beach near Lynmouth, 16 miles along the coast. The lifeboats from Minehead's neighbouring station Ilfracombe have also been launched.
Lynmouth is pretty much the dividing point between the two stations, and depending on sea conditions, it depends who can get there the quickest.
Today, Raji and the Minehead crew arrive on the scene first. The kayakers are on a small strip of beach which the incoming tide is swallowing up fast. But the wind and swell make it dangerous to get the Atlantic B-class lifeboat in too close.
Just go in and tell me what the issue is.
The decision was made by our helm to send a swimmer in just to check everyone out. It was me.
We don't really like sending crew members in the water. We like to stay on the boat, but occasionally it's necessary to send a swimmer in. Raji is casualty care trained, and she's a great swimmer. And yeah, I'm aware that, you know, she's new on the crew, but I had every confidence she was going to do the job and do it well.
I'd never swum inshore like that. It was frightening. Water was turbulent. There were big, big waves. I was sort of being dropped on the beach and then sucked back out again. I kept losing my footing. I had to stop thinking about myself and, you know, my fears and do the job that I was there to do. I had to get up and get on with it.
Anybody hurt? Are you injured? No. Nobody injured?
No, yeah, we have yeah.
It was the first time that I'd been asked to be in charge of a situation as a newly fledged crew member. Probably the biggest responsibility that I've been given so far.
Raji must assess the kayaker with the injured ankle. If they need medical attention or can't be moved, there's a danger they could be caught by the rising tide.
I was towing a boat earlier and I just slipped off a rock, and so it's sort of okay when it's still, and as soon as I try and move it, it just... Right. Okay, got another lifeboat just arrived here.
After 10 minutes alone on the beach, reinforcements arrive from Ilfracombe out at sea.
Hello! They all want to come on. That's fine. You guys are happy to do that? Yeah, no worries.
The Ilfracombe crew are equipped with a smaller, more manoeuvrable D-class lifeboat.
When Ilfracombe's D-class turned up, that was great news to me because I knew that was the right boat for the job. It means you can get in a lot closer.
The plan is to use their boat to evacuate the kayakers.
When we arrived at Lynmouth, the sea was dumping onto the beach really heavily. So initially, I went in close, dropped a crew member ashore.
Right, you ready? Good. Take it nice and steady, mate.
For me, it felt as I'd got help, I'd got back up.
Now the two crews will have to work fast to rescue the injured kayaker and her friends.
The tide was coming in, the beach was disappearing. At high water, there would have been no beach there.
To get as close as possible, the D-class crew are attempting to veer down, using the anchor and paying out the line to keep them steady as they reverse in.
Right, you ready, guys? He's veering down on the anchor.
Right, okay.
He should be able to get relatively close.
Okay, brilliant.
By dropping the anchor, we give us a stable point. A point that, if the sea was to pick us up, it wouldn't throw us up the beach. The anchor would hold us.
As soon as they started veering down, I was thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I'd have done.
Swell coming. Swell!
I got left the lovely job of letting out 100 metres of rope, pulling in 100 metres of rope, letting out 100 metres of rope, pulling it back in. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, just don't think about.
The D-class veers down as close as possible to the shore. But to get to the boat, the kayakers will have to wade the last few feet through the breaking waves. And one, with the injured ankle, can't walk unaided.
Conditions were deteriorating and, you know, there was a need to get on and do it.
The lady was asked if she thought she could walk to the water's edge, and we were going to try and get her onto the D-class. And she was up for it.
Raji and Andy support the injured kayaker as they make their way into the surf.
Dumping swell, as I remember, on the beach, quite a big dumping swell, and it's quite a shallow beach. So as soon as this big swell hits the beach, it jacks up and dumps. So getting people on and off the beach is going to be a bit of a nightmare.
And I remember I had my arm around her and I was reassuring her, saying, take your time, don't worry, it's going to be all right. And then a big wave came and I let her go. I just couldn't hold on. The sea was so strong, there was nothing I could do. I felt powerless.
There was quite a nasty little dumping sea there going on. It certainly took me by surprise.
I don't really remember much else after that. I think my confidence had been knocked.
The rest of the crew help recover the casualty from the water and get her into the boat.
The sea is absolutely lethal. It's worse than going like 10 rounds with a heavyweight boxer because it's coming from every direction.
If Andy goes that side and has to go this side.
After 20 minutes, all the kayakers are safely off the beach and being ferried to the bigger lifeboats offshore.
And you're going to go first, all right? Well, hang on. You all right?
Now an exhausted, shaken Raji and the Ilfracombe crew have to get off themselves.
Just lean right into it.
Anybody, no matter who you are, if you get in the wrong situation out there, the sea can be a really testing place.
Okay. Okay. Grab
How do you look back on that moment? Frightening.
It was. In fact, I was going to give up the next day. I just thought I'm not strong enough. I didn't think I had what it took to be lifeboat crew.
Good job, mate. Cracking. No, you did good. Like I said, we've been in there before.
People were aware that it was a bit out of my comfort zone.
The first time will be the worst. Next time you'll be thinking, well, we've done this before.
Lovely!
Yeah, good job.
The following day, I didn't think that I was strong enough.
Raji said, you know, I did wonder whether I could cope. I pointed out that, in fact, she had coped and she'd done a fantastic job and that she shouldn't have any worries about continuing on the crew.
My crew taught me around and said, look, first one's always difficult. We all get scared sometimes.
You could go out in the street and round up 100 people and ask them to do what Raji did that day and they would run a mile.
They said the result was good, you did your job, you did a good job, and, you know, stick at it, which I did.
You have to work very tightly together. So you have to understand each other, be aware of the strengths of each person. And that's what makes it so good, is when people work as a team.
1, 2, 3.
You're bonded to each other, you look out for each other. When you're spending huge amounts of time together, you always be there for each other.
The biggest thing that we have to do when we go out on the boat is have 100% trust in each other. You trust that somebody's been trained well, somebody knows what they're doing, and if you make a mistake, somebody has got your back all the time.
Getting on well on the boat, it's critical. You can't go to sea with 6 guys you don't trust or 6 guys you don't like. Each and every one of you's got to be part of one team.
There's no room for egos on lifeboats. You have to put your life in your teammates' hands. And if you can't trust a member of your team with your life, then they have no place there and they have to go.
You've got nowhere to run. If you're on that lifeboat, you can't just jump off. You're at sea until it comes back in.
On the east coast of Ireland, just 20 miles north of Dublin, lies the small seaside town of Skerries. Its name is believed to derive from the Norse word for rocks, and the Skerries horizon is dotted with a ring of rocky islands just offshore.
Originally, the biggest reason for using the water was fishing, but predominantly now it's leisure users, and sea swimming has become a huge thing recently.
The coastline is beautiful, I'd call it. We've lovely sandy beaches, we've lovely islands off the coast of Skerries, but the water around the islands can be quite deceptive. Yeah, the currents can be quite strong because there's such narrow channels between the islands and between the coast, and the water can get funneled and can be a lot faster than it looks.
Like all boat crew volunteers, the team at Skerries train together on a regular basis. A bank holiday in Ireland, and the crew are in earlier than normal.
It was Halloween, so it's the end of October, and we'd moved the course forward because some of the crew wanted to go out and trick-or-treat with their kids in the evening.
The instructor was going through something on the whiteboard, and the pager sounded, and the four of us just jumped up.
From the moment a call comes in to getting out on the water, the average launch time is 10 minutes. Today, the Skerries crew are out in a record 2.
It's very unusual to have a full crew and shore crew, everybody you need to launch the lifeboat, sitting in the station when the pagers sound.
You don't get a quicker response than that.
The Coast Guard report 2 swimmers in trouble off Red Island. The crew are racing to get to them before hypothermia sets in. But with sea temperatures below 14 degrees, that could be just a few minutes. And finding anyone in the fast tidal currents around Skerries and her islands is no easy task.
Sea swimming can be so dangerous. You could be the best swimmer in the world, and if you're not aware of tides and currents, you could be pulled out to sea.
The location that we were given, there is a concern there that if they get caught in the wrong part of the tide at the wrong time, that they could be pulled quite far, and that makes the search area a lot bigger, particularly when you're looking for something as small as a swimmer.
If you've any sort of ripple or wave in the water, you just won't see them. You'll see an arm coming out of the water when they are actually swimming. But if they're sitting there treading water, you're looking for a little tiny cap.
The crew do have one clue they can follow.
We heard that a local vessel had called in that these swimmers were in trouble. We knew he wouldn't have left them alone, so we kind of knew going around the corner from the station we were looking for a vessel. So it was fairly handy to spot where we were going.
Using the boat to guide them in, the crew find the swimmers.
There was a man and a woman. I noticed the woman was a bit more lively and she was kind of waving a little bit more. The man was just looking around, maybe a little bit vacant, a little bit slower to react. You could tell by him he was cold, and you were kind of talking at him more than to him.
And he was shivering violently.
It's only been 15 minutes since the call came in, but that's long enough for the effects of the cold water to take hold.
Hypothermia, as it starts to set in, starts to affect initially your control over your limbs as the blood returns to the core to try and keep the body warm. Eventually it will lead to unconsciousness, which can lead to drowning.
He found it hard to get himself up on the boat. He was covered in goosebumps.
The 2 swimmers are part of a club. They call themselves the Frosties and go for regular open water swims in the winter months. 6 started out today, 4 reached safety. When the male swimmer Sean began struggling, Catherine stayed with him.
When we came up for our swim, one of the group was going to go around the island, and we decided we'd also do the island. So we took off, 6 of us, and prior to our swim, we had instructed everybody to stay neat in against the island, because if you swim out too far, you could get caught in the current.
At times, the tide can be flown up to 5 knots there, which is faster than an Olympic swimmer can swim.
One of the individuals went out a bit too far and actually got caught in the current. And that meant that he was broken off from the rest of the group. I had advised the other people to stay on the island until we got together, and that must have taken about 10 or 15 minutes because it was extremely difficult for him to swim even across the current to get back safely to the island.
Wet and exposed to the air, the group waiting on shore were losing body heat rapidly.
It was quite a breezy day. They'd already swum for about 25 minutes, and while we were getting the other individual in, they were getting cold.
After the wayward swimmer had returned, the group got back into the cold water for the swim home.
I would say that we had left the island probably about 10-15 minutes before it was apparent that Sean was having a problem.
I could hear Catherine's voice, but I couldn't see where she was. And she kept calling out to me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And eventually I had to say, "No, I'm not." I realised things weren't quite right. It felt like my body just wasn't working. It felt like I couldn't lift my arms up above my shoulders, and my legs, I knew my legs weren't kicking in the water.
When it became clear that Sean wasn't going to make it, a nearby boat radioed the Coast Guard for help.
I was worried, but as it happened then, I was only with him a few minutes and I could see the oar in a lifeboat coming out around the corner, coming straight for us.
We'd actually just been learning about hypothermia minutes beforehand in the classroom, and we were aware that his drop-off in responsiveness was one of the potential signs of hypothermia.
So I wrapped them up and then I wrapped myself around them because it would protect them from the winds and the element, and any sort of transfer of heat from me into him is a bonus.
While Catherine is able to swim back to shore to rejoin the rest of the Frosties, the crew want Sean to get a full medical assessment back at the station.
He wasn't out of danger yet, and Jerry got onto the Coast Guard and radioed back in for help from a doctor. So there was a doctor waiting on shore when we got back in.
I don't think I had ever been that cold before, or my body had never felt that way before. I was very surprised how quickly that happened, because I had been swimming fine for quite a while, felt good all the way around the island, and it was in hindsight, it was quite frightening to think that it could happen so quickly.
If the casualty didn't have the other swimmer with him, nor the surrounding fishing vessel to radio in for him, he wouldn't probably be around today to talk about it.
On the northeast coast of England, at the lifeboat station at Redcar, the newest recruit is being put through his paces.
So if you pull that, that's not going to go anywhere.
Is that it? Like that?
Ex-squaddie Steve is learning the ropes.
I've been enrolled now 4.5 months. Yeah, I'm very new. Watch me mess it up now. Since I've left the army, it's like I've had something missing. It's the same closeness, the same team spirit. You have to trust one each other, have that same trust, and it's the same laugh with the lads.
Loop, through, round, back through, all that tight. There. Perfect.
The most challenging thing, I think, is hoping you're going to fit in, but it just comes naturally, and such a good bunch of lads, and make you feel welcome from day one.
To undo it, all you do is break that. It'll come undone.
I've only been on 2 shouts, and obviously the seal.
Redcar's 8 miles of sandy beach attract visitors from all over the UK. But sometimes the sea throws up a more unusual tourist.
I just finished night shift. I'd been home to get changed. I was on the way to the boathouse. I've seen seals before, but I had to take a second take.
A young seal has managed to travel over 100 metres from the water. across a main road, up several steps, and end up at this front door.
It was laid against the star, having a little rest. It was fortunate not to become injured. It was a very busy road. It's the course road that goes the full length of Redcar, really, and you do get a lot of traffic there.
The visitor is now attracting the attention of local residents.
There was a couple of members of the public, and they'd phoned the RSPCA, and they didn't have no one like in the area. They'd phoned the police. They didn't want nothing to do with it. So I heard one of them saying, "I'll go down to the Lifeboat station. It's up. The door's open." And I said to them, "Well, I'm going down there now because I'm a trainee crew member." So that's when I went down and spoke to the lads.
Sunday is training day at Redcar Station and the kettle's on.
Generally, what we do in the morning before we do anything, we all have a cup of tea. It's sort of our motivational fuel.
Steve is still learning his new teammates' little rituals, and his news doesn't provoke the reaction he might have expected.
I don't think they got what I was talking about at first, because they turned around and said, "Oh, it happens all the time."
We always get people phoning us, coming over saying there's a seal on the beach. What can we do? In reality, not a lot. We get wildlife coming up on the beach, having a rest. But it wasn't until Steve said he doesn't know how it's going to get back across the road, the penny dropped that it just wasn't on the seawall, it was actually up, over, and sat outside someone's house. So we thought we'd best go down and show face just to see if there's anything we could do. So we decided to see if we could put a plan in place, see if we can hope to get the seal shifted before it got too agitated.
But just as we were exploring other avenues, one of the off-duty Coast Guards actually drove past in a van, and she owns actually a pet store.
And luckily she had a large dog crate in the back of a van. It was just sheer luck.
The Coast Guard and lifeboat crews train together for most coastal emergency eventualities. Seal herding isn't one of them.
We're quite aware of the seals because we've got a nasty bite with them, so we did keep our distance as best we could. You don't want to be anywhere near it if it's snapping away.
I wouldn't say I was scared, no. I was wary.
Although people think seals are quite like puppies, an animal's fine in its own environment, but sat up on a roadway on top of some steps, you don't know how he's going to react, what mood it's in. So it's important to sort of approach with an open mind and play it as it goes.
Because we've got John.
It was naturally upset. It was trying to bite the cage. So we just waved the towel in front of its face and it just hopped in. It's going to come to the bottom of the cage.
Stay to wake up till we're on our doorstep.
Thankfully it was quite quiet in the morning. But yeah, if you see some guys carrying a seal across the road in a crate, it's going to arouse a bit of suspicion, but thankfully there wasn't too many people about.
We took it across the road and down onto the beach.
You're from this side.
It's always nice to see an animal go back in the water. The chances are it'll probably come back up in half an hour anyway for another rest. But yeah, we stopped it from getting run over, getting hit by any boats, going down the slipway, so yeah, it was back where it belonged really.
It's been an auspicious rescue to start Steve's lifeboat career, and has helped seal the deal on a knotty problem every new recruit must face. His crew nickname.
That's it now, I'll be known as Seal Boy.
There's a lot of nicknames on the crew. There's Jobbler, Chunk, Johnsy, Whiskers, Yobbler. Need I go on?
One of my lifeboat crew has a booming voice, so they call him the foghorn, so Foggy.
Mark is called Rusty. I think that's because of his ginger hair.
We have Lentil. He's vegetarian, so maybe that's something to do with that.
Everybody calls me B. I don't mean everybody calls me B.
It was because when I was a baby, every time I saw a bee, I used to go bzzz, and it's as rubbish as that.
John is Gok, because we believe he looks like Gok 1. My nickname is Peanut, but as you can tell, I've got a rather large head.
I can think of quite a few. Can't really say a lot of them on camera, though.
Back on the other side of the Irish Sea, the Skerries crew are a tight-knit team from a tight-knit local community.
Skerries is a great town now. I'm probably biased because my family go back to the 1800s in Skerries.
Skerries most definitely is a place where everybody knows each other. So no matter where you're in the town, no matter what you do, someone knows where you are and what you're doing, and which is great, you know. As they say, it takes a community to rear a child, and, you know, Skerries is a very good community.
Do you want a cup of tea? Yeah. All right, okay.
Laura is a born and bred Skerries lass and lives just round the corner from Mum Mary.
Did I hope there's milk?
Laura signed up for the lifeboats as soon as she was old enough.
It was when I just finished my final exams in school, and I knew that I wanted to be in the emergency services somehow, and because I was the right age, it meant I was eligible to actually go down and join.
The lifeboat pager is not the only one Laura carries.
I, obviously with the Ornelai, I'm crew with the Ornelai, but I'm also an on-call firefighter in our local fire station. So I work with Dublin Fire Brigade.
It's what she wants to do, and she certainly thrives on it. I mean, I probably am more concerned about her pager lifestyle, but it doesn't faze her at all. She just drops everything and goes, and she does really, really thrive on it. She loves it.
Laura's decision to lead a double life, as a lifeboat crew volunteer and as a paid-on-call firefighter, had a very personal motivation.
I'd had a bit of an experience with my brother about 3 years previously. He fell and he fractured his skull and he injured himself quite badly. And the only reason that I believe that he's still here with us is because the first responders that got to him, they kept him alive to get him to the hospital, which is what made me want to join the emergency services. And then when I became of age, that's exactly what I did. As soon as I left school, I went straight down and I joined, and then I haven't looked back since.
April in Skerries. One of Laura's pagers goes off. This time, it's the lifeboat.
I was actually sitting in a cafe facing the sea with my friend, and the pager went off, and just like that, straight up gone. All I could hear was shouting out the door after me, being like, "See ya!"
The Coast Guard have received a 999 call from a member of the public. Another local swimmer is in trouble. The crew have another search on their hands. But this time the swimmer isn't with a group. He's alone, and a strong current is pulling him out to sea.
At that moment, your heart kind of starts to beat a little bit quicker, because it's not like somebody's on dry land and they can save themselves for that extra second. You literally have no time to lose, particularly if those people are swimming on their own and nobody knows that they've gone swimming.
As the crew race towards the swimmer's last known position, a Coast Guard helicopter is diverted from a training mission to help in the search.
The helicopter hovering in the air made my job as a helm easier to get directly to the casualty, and second, save lives.
You're still thinking, how long have they been in the water? Have they taken on water? Are we going to need an ambulance? All these things run through your head a million miles an hour.
We knew as we approached him that he was tired and that he was cold. Just by his movements were very delayed and maybe a little bit slow, but it was great to see that he was still treading water and his head was still above water.
It was a middle-aged man. He was more just keeping himself afloat than swimming. He wasn't going anywhere. And we asked him straight away, before we'd even got him into the boat, how long have you been in the water? And he said 40 minutes. So that was a long time for a swimmer to be in the water in difficulty.
We could see he didn't have a lot of energy, so we knew he was in quite a bit of trouble.
It was quite hard to pull the casualty in out of the water. He was freezing cold. Like, he was at that stage of hypothermia where he just, all of the warmth in his body was going to his core. All the blood was going to his core to help, keep him alive.
The swimmer needs urgent medical attention. but recovering someone in the advanced stages of hypothermia brings its own risks.
When someone's submersed in the water for long periods of time and you take them out vertically, all the blood can drop from their core down to their legs, which in extreme cases can cause cardiac arrest. So all these things are going through your mind. But if the guys, we were happy enough that we could lift them in vertically, a standard lift into the boat in this instant.
The casualty, David, is an experienced sea swimmer, but he too was caught by the notorious rip currents that run around Skerries and her rocky islands.
I love to push myself in sea swimming. I'm going to my physical limits until I know I physically can't do much more of a swim. You get a buzz from it, and it's just like an energy boost, and you just feel really, really good when you get out of it. I didn't intend to go for such a long swim that day, but I wasn't particularly focused, and I got caught in a rip current then. And I realised I was being dragged out to sea. I just started screaming for help. I could see the lifeboat maybe 500 metres out, and that was a nice thing to see.
You could see the gratitude on his face, just how grateful he was that we got there, the relief almost.
Even though I was feeling embarrassed about it, purely because I feel they have more important things to be doing than pulling me out of the water, but it was a great relief.
Only for that member of the public that actually spotted him and put the call in. You know, we might not have been sent there, or there might have been a delay in us getting to him.
It certainly has changed me in that I'm more cautious than I was, and I have a lot more respect for the sea. But I was back swimming the next day.
On the south coast of Dorset, Muddyford Station has 17 boat crew and 8 shore crew volunteers. But one of the most important members of the team is the Muddyford Servant, their 10-year-old B-class Atlantic lifeboat. Volunteer and garage owner Ian makes sure she's always in peak physical condition.
We're running 2 engines on the back of these boats, partly for reliability issues, so if you have a failure, we can carry on 1 engine. But we don't want to have any failures at sea. We want to spot them here, developing if there is one, and correct it before we go afloat. I've been in the Isle of Life for just over 30 years now. My uncle was a local fisherman and he was on the crew here, and I grew up down here on the quay, and I used to like watching the lifeboat going out. Thought that would be a good thing to get involved with when I was old enough. So as soon as I was old enough, I put in a request and joined.
Now, 3 decades later, when the Muddyford Servant launches, as senior helmsman, Ian is more often than not at the wheel, guiding her out into the sea off Christchurch Bay. Separated from the English Channel by a narrow entrance known locally as the Run. The tides here force water through the gap at high speed. And once out of the bay, the entrance to the Run is guarded by shifting sandbanks, notorious for catching out unwary craft.
Because Muddyford is so shallow at low tide, even in season, if the weather's a little bit inclement and the channels move slightly, people get stuck on the sandbar.
What we've got is our entrance to Christchurch Harbour, and you've got a low water and then you have high waters here. So at, say, half tide down to low water, you do reveal a lot of sandbars. So tourists coming down to this area can get themselves into some difficult situations.
In July, the seas around Muddyford can be at their busiest. So when an unseasonably strong storm suddenly rolls in off the Atlantic, the lifeboat crew are on high alert.
It was not typical for that time of year. It was a pretty unpleasant afternoon, to be honest.
We weren't expecting boats to be out in those conditions.
But 2 boats are out. One, a yacht, is in serious trouble after trying to run for safety before the storm. The second, heading into the storm to rescue her, is the Muddyford Servant.
We were told that there was a vessel aground at the entrance and they'd put out a mayday call.
A mayday is the highest priority distress call a vessel can make.
Mayday is normally a life-threatening situation, so it's something that needs to be dealt with quickly.
As we headed towards it, we could see that it was harder ground and getting beaten up by the swell that was coming across the sandbar.
A 32-foot yacht with 4 people on board has run aground on one of the shifting sandbanks. It's been battered by winds gusting up to 40 miles an hour and a huge swell.
That could capsize, especially a sailboat with a large keel as well. We saw the people were hanging on. They looked very scared and didn't know what was going to happen.
I might just take them off. Take the people off? Yeah. Your job is to get the people safe and to keep your crew safe while you're doing it.
What we're going to do is put you on here, and then we'll come back to the boat.
Abandoning ship in these conditions is a last resort. But with the yacht stuck fast and rolling further over with every wave, it's a risk the crew have to take.
I just don't want them falling in the water as we're trying to transfer them.
When we ask people to step over the guardrail of any boat, obviously there's a huge amount of risk involved in doing that, but we don't ask people to step over the guardrail of their boat until we're confident our boat's going to be underneath them to catch them.
It's easy to slip between 2 vessels, which could end up fatal without question.
Evacuating the crew from the rolling yacht is no easy task. But it's what's going on under the water that's concerning helmsman Ian most.
Wouldn't get anywhere near it. We went fairly close to the yacht and realised that it was really shallow, to the point where we were going aground ourselves.
The Atlantic 85, with the engines down, it does draw quite a lot of water, so we knew that it was going to be quite difficult to get in there and try and get the people off.
We knew that with the high winds as well, we couldn't sit in one spot and board them all at one time without the wind pushing the Atlantic onto the sandbar.
There was no way that we were going to get all the people off at the same time.
It was apparent that there was only really one way to evacuate them.
OK, we're going to just take them one at a time, just grab them one at a time.
If the crew spend too long next to the stricken yacht, they risk being blown onto the sandbar themselves.
All right, we're going to come back in, and when we come in, we'll take one off and come back out, all right?
If they're going to avoid grounding, Ian will have to make 4 runs in, putting his boat and crew at risk every time.
We were very fortunate that day that we had our senior helm, who has got the most experience by miles out of all of us. He is absolutely fantastic at manoeuvring the boat in any conditions.
But today, conditions are going to test even Ian's skills.
Our deepest point on our lifeboat is propellers. Those will be the first things that start to hit the bottom. You need both of those to give you forward and backwards movement as well as your steering.
Ian begins his first approach.
OK, so get ready. Yeah.
As the water gets shallower, he has to raise the engines behind him to avoid running aground.
You start to actually be lifting those engines up in sections as you go, leaving them down as much as possible to get the maximum manoeuvrability you can for the lifeboat. And then as you go in that last little bit is when you lift them up as far as you can to still have propulsion and steerage. It's a case of trying to maximise that gap that you've got to be alongside in a good position to take somebody off.
Go!
One down and 3 more to go. The last few foot that you're going in, you're just working with or against the sea to get yourself into that position. You're dealing with a lot of motion and a lot of different forces, and you can get caught out as easy as anybody else.
As conditions worsen, Ian starts his third run.
You don't get it right every time. As we were coming in, a slightly larger wave came through, which, with the wave action and the wind at the same time, blew us off course. There's no point then trying to push a bad position. You just reverse away, set yourself back up and go in again.
Okay, so get ready.
Yeah.
The skills required to manoeuvre the lifeboat in conditions like that are unbelievable. Ian makes it look very, very easy, but trust me, that's a very difficult job.
Ian makes his fourth and hopefully final run in.
Get ready. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you did? Yeah.
7 minutes after launching, all 4 people are safely on board.
The crew that were on this casualty yacht were actually quite an experienced group of guys.
They realised the weather was deteriorating and it was probably not the safest thing to do to continue. So you look at an alternative port and a safe haven, which is what they did. It was unfortunate that the channel wasn't the best at that time, and once they'd touched, you start to lose control of the vessel, and then they got blown further and further onto the banks.
We did manage to go out to the yacht, managed to get a tow on it, put it on a mooring and checked all the keel bolts, and they were very, very lucky that the yacht had absolutely no damage to it.
A couple of days later, they came back to safely sail the vessel back to port.
You're thinking, oh my God, I've got someone's life literally in my hands here.
3 metres.
Your heart sinks when you hear that someone's head has gone under. It can very easily turn into a search for a body.
Ultimately, you've got to survive yourself. You are always thinking about how you're going to get out of that situation as well.